extra strength, so we gave us the power, so we he's showing out, that's why we
Yo, we is back. Episode number 7 of the Not the Same podcast. We have a very special guest in the house tonight, Mr. Ozzie Smith, Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith, STL, St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Look at him in the comments already. Where's Ozzie? He's here. He's here, brother. Just hold on. Hold your mule, brother. Hold your mule. Welcome to the Not the Same podcast, man. We are so glad that you came back and to join us today. Like we say, what up, AT the Scribe? What up, Hagens? What up, everybody in the chat, man? Let us know you here, man. Let us know, Glenn. Hey, the Wizard. That's right.
Yeah. See,
you know what I'm saying?
Look at it. This is the funny part. Everybody was resting home.
That's what we just told Ozzie. We told her everybody gonna show up when the Wizards show up. Brother Hagen said, "I'm sorry, fellas. I love y'all, but I ain't come to see y'all tonight."
I tell you, everybody rest home
we
for
told
work.
You, brother.
We off to see the Wizard. That's what it was. It was about tonight.
All right, man. So. Want to give people time to come in, but if y'all is late, that is your fault, man. We have a Hall of Fame in here with us, man. So, without further ado, we would like to introduce the son and reintroduce the others, Mr. Ozzie Smith, man. So, y'all give some hearts, some likes, some claps, and some drum rolls and all that, and here we go. And I pushed the wrong button. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Hey, look, they thought we catfished them, bro.
We ain't catfishing. Oh, you may have popped out. We don't see him right now. Cut your camera back on, Mr. Smith. We'll come back to him in a second. The camera had popped out.
But while we getting Mr. Smith,
he is really here. We're not catfishing people.
Check this out. This is what we're going to go ahead and go over this man's accolades as he gets ready to come back in. Mr. Ozzie Smith was drafted by the San Diego Padres before coming over to the Cardinals in 1982. Yep. He is a 15-time All-Star, started in 11 of those All-Star games. World Series champion in 1982. Don't forget the Cardinals has the second most World Series wins, only behind them one guys. We're not going to even mention their names. 13 consecutive Gold Glove Awards, 1980 through 92.
All that. Yeah.
All that good stuff. NLC. Yeah, that's right. MLC as most valuable player in 85, won the Lou Gehrig Award in 89. The reason I want to give him props, there you go. Yeah. See, y'all thought we was playing with y'all.
Y'all thought we was playing. He is really here.
He's really here. He did win the Lou Gehrig Award. The reason that is a big award back in 1989, that is dealing with integrity, people. Integrity. That is something that a lot of people do not show a lot of nowadays. 20th shortstop inducted in the MLB Hall of Fame. First ballot, by the way. That's big. Back in 2002. Major league records for most assists, double plays, total chances. Most years with 500 or more assists. Most years leading the league in assists. Inducted into the Cardinals Hall of Fame in 2014. Hey, look, the list goes on and on, good people. Yeah. He retired in 1996. And get this. The year he retired, they retired his number. That's big.
You might have to hit him back, Rob. He popped in, popped back out.
Okay, I got you right here.
But AKA that brother got a lot of accolades.
Hey, mute me and go in so I can call real quick.
Here you go.
Okay, you back?
Yeah. AKA he got a lot of accolades. How y'all? Yes, sir. We got you. Yes, sir. We got you.
There we go.
How you doing?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. We got you.
All right. How y'all doing?
Absolutely. Good. Hold on. You missed. We gave you like a 10-minute introduction, man. Rob, give him the short version.
The short version
he just popped out. Oh well.
I don't know. Is he still there?
I think it's the camera, man.
I'm still here. I can see you guys. I'm still here.
Okay.
Well, we got you. The camera keep popping out on us.
Yeah.
But we got you here. So that's
hold on. What you say, What you say, sir?
That might be me too. I don't know. I'm not a techie, so I don't know.
Well, it's okay. We know it's you. Right. We can stay here. If the camera don't come back, they know it's you.
Okay.
Go
No,
ahead,
I
Rob.
just was giving you your accolades over all of your career achievements, the 13 Gold Gloves, the 15 All-Star appearances, your major league records that you've done in assists, double plays. Some of the audience is saying best defensive player ever. Your Hall
Yep.
of Fame inductee back in 2002, first ballot, by the way. Hall of
Yep.
Famer of the Cardinals back in 2014. So welcome to the show, sir, is what we want to say.
Well, thank you guys so much. Thanks for having me. And evidently you guys have been doing something right. You've been around for a year. You've got some staying power. So
Yes, sir.
that's good. That's good.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Well, before we even get started, sir, we are honored that you are even willing to come on with us. But unlike every other guest, we're gonna give you one of these. Thank you so much for taking your time to be with us. We're not gonna hold you too long. We already, we got you trying to figure out this technology by yourself, and we don't want to get you in trouble. So we'll ask
I'm
you.
almost 70 years old, man. This stuff is too.
I understand.
Too difficult.
And it changes every day. That's the thing.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So we'll ask you a couple of questions and we'll get you on up out of here. By tradition,
Okay.
I always allow my brother Rob to go first. So Rob, go for it.
All right, Mr. Smith. A lot of people don't know this, but in high school you played both basketball and baseball, and in college you was a walk-on basketball player. What drove you? What was your drive to go baseball as opposed to going to basketball, especially being so popular at that time?
Well, I tell people that I excelled at basketball in high school, but when I decided to go to college, I realized that my size was going to be a deterrent and stuff. And so, upon doing some soul searching, I realized that baseball was really what I loved doing more than anything else. And it was one of those things that sometimes you never really know what it is that you're going to end up doing in your life. I just knew that I had good hand and eye coordination. So I was just kind of led in that direction to kind of follow the skill that I was blessed with. That hand and eye coordination certainly helped me as far as basketball was concerned. But I was too small to really make it in that. I'd have to work too hard, and through baseball I wouldn't have to work as hard, and I could make just as much money.
Nobody's gonna argue with that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a good question for you, sir.
Okay.
If you had a chance to go back and relive any of the greatest moments in your career, which would it be and why?
Greatest moments in my career. I think the first thing that would come to mind is, from a highlight standpoint, there was a play that I made, and I think it was the play that kind of put me on the map in San Diego one Thursday. Let me paint the picture here. One Thursday afternoon, the Padres are playing the Atlanta Braves. Randy Jones is pitching. Jeff Burrows is hitting. There's a ground ball hit up the middle. And I dive, and as I dive for the ball hits. Now I'm parallel to the ground. The ball hit, and it goes back to my which would be my right. Now my body's going left, and I have to reach back with my bare hand, and somehow the ball stuck in my hand. I was able to scramble to my feet and throw Jeff Burrows out at first base, and that was really the play. And I didn't understand it until the next day when I was listening to the radio, and I heard the guy say, "This is probably the best defensive play I've ever seen."
Yes, sir.
And so it was at that moment that I realized that I had done something. I did what I'd always done. I had a nose for the ball, and I was just doing my job. And that particular day was the day that people that I got on the map, and people started looking at me. And of course, when you're supposedly a defensive specialist, and sometimes when you come up and you don't hit home runs, right away you get that label of being all glove and no hit. So that's one of the things that I had to deal with. So my challenge over my career was to prove that I was a much better offensive player than I was being given credit for. And sometimes that's extremely hard when you don't hit the ball out of the ballpark. The things that you do are overlooked. The little things like driving that runner in from third base with less than 2 down on a consistent basis, or being able to get that guy over. Because when I started my career, I started hitting eighth, and it wasn't until I got here in St. Louis that Whitey Herzog said to me, he said, the number 8 hitter in the lineup is not someone that you necessarily try to hide, because there's so much that goes into a number 8 hitter. A guy being disciplined enough at the plate to know when they're pitching around you, or knowing when to go out of the strike zone, or who's hitting behind you. And he said it was like having a second leadoff hitter in the lineup. So having that with him saying that, I took a lot of pride in hitting eighth, and from my learning to hit eighth came my ability to move up in the lineup, and for the latter part of my career hit second. So it was through a lot of work and determination, and the blood, the sweat, and the tears. And it's the thing I tell kids all the time, that if you're willing to put forth the blood, the sweat, and the tears, good things can happen. And so I dedicated myself, and I've always had a great work ethic. I've always had to have a good work ethic, because if you're going to excel in any sport, and you're not 6'3", 6'4", 220, 225, you got to work a little bit harder to prove your worth. And so I was never afraid of that. I was just like a lot of guys. I just wanted the opportunity. And one thing that I was taught when I was young was that you have a chance at success when preparation and opportunity meet. And so you want to be prepared when that opportunity comes. And it's just like, say for instance, getting drafted. That window of opportunity may be very, very small. But if you've prepared yourself, done your work, done all of the hard work, as small as that window of opportunity may be, you've got to be able to slide through that window, no matter how big it is.
Yes,
and
sir.
sometimes that opportunity is very small, so you got to be ready for it. And for me, when I came over here in 1982, I came over here for a player that was a true 5-tool player. Gary Templeton probably was one of the most talented guys to ever don a pair of spikes. And still to this day, the only guy in the National League to get 100 hits from both sides of the plate. So when you come over for a player like that, you better be pretty good at what you do.
Right.
Otherwise you get ran out of town. And I have a lot of fun with guys now when we sit around and they tell me about, well, boy, I love watching you play this and that and the other. And I said, you know what? I bet you were one of those people that when they said they were going to trade Gary Templeton for Ozzie Smith, you were sitting there saying, who? What? and that happens. But here again, it was one of those situations where when I got here, I realized that I could not be Gary Templeton. All I could be was me. And I was looking forward to the opportunity of coming to an organization where I knew I was going to have a chance to win, to experience what that was all about. And 1982 was that year. It was, you talk, getting back to highlights. Winning the World Series in 1982 was certainly a highlight for me, because Mr. Herzog, Whitey Herzog, had told me when he came out to visit me that if I came and played for the Cardinals, there was no reason that we couldn't win it all. And I believe that. And he put a lot of faith in me in bringing me over here to be a part of the organization. And as time went on, by the time we get to 1985, and we're in the playoffs and we're playing the Dodgers, I hit a home run, which I was not trying to do. But it was at that point that people started looking at me as much more than just a defensive player. So from that standpoint, it was mission accomplished.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. If you guys are just joining us, we have Hall of Fame legend Ozzie Smith on the line with us. Hey, if you're tuning in, hey, he's already dropped some jewels, not just in the game of baseball, but just in work ethic, period. So
Absolutely.
Pay attention to what he's saying because these are lifelong life lessons, not just sports lessons. I want to kind of ask you something serious. It's a two-part question. In today's society, we deal with what they call social unrest now. And it's easy to want to give up and make excuses on why you can't do certain things professionally or personally. First, as a man, what were some of the challenges you faced in keeping a balance with your family and racism? And then second, as a player, with those same challenges, how did you push past it to get to where you were or what you've accomplished rather?
Mm.
Well, here again, as a black man in America, every day that you get up and you walk out that door, you face the reality that you may not come back. That's the reality
Absolutely.
of the
Yes,
world in
sir.
which we live. We have to realize that we shouldn't have to worry about whether or not if I go out and I get stopped by a cop, whether or not I'm going to make it home. But it's the reality, and it's what I explained to my boys. It's not right. I shouldn't have to worry about, and I would consider myself somebody,
Yes, sir.
with a name, but I still have to conduct myself as if I'm just the average black man,
Mm.
because it's so in the world that we live in is it's so dangerous out here, man. And unfortunately, people like Colin Kaepernick, who was just trying to bring an awareness to it, that was taken totally different, taken in a totally different way, and he was one of those people that put it all out there and ended up losing his job and stuff, and was kind of uh, he was blackballed. I'm gonna just say he was blackballed,
Absolutely.
pretty
Yeah.
much for
Mm-hmm.
just certainly bringing an awareness to something that's very serious with us today, and stuff. So you deal with it. I'm not saying that I haven't had situations where uh, if I get stopped because of who I am, really played a big part in it,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. But for the most part, just an average guy out there. I would take my brother, for instance. If my brother goes into a store, um, it's different for him as it is as opposed to me, because once people know who I am, yeah, you're treated totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you see that on a daily basis. Um, and so here we are. I still have to realize that there are certain things and places that I have to be aware of when I go, um, because of the environment in which we live today.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And the second part, family. There are so many guys that we end up losing our families because of the pressures and stuff that are there. First of all, as being a black man, and the pressures that go along with trying to keep a family together while you're away all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We spend half of our life on the road, so it's very easy to grow apart. And a large percentage of guys, after they retire, um, they end up losing their families.
Mm-hmm.
So for most guys, it's their second or third go around as far as marriage and stuff is concerned. So uh, it's tough, and it's a balancing act. And if you don't have someone that's close to you, a friend, a psychologist, or a therapist, or somebody, you can lose perspective very easily. So,
Mm.
for myself, I was fortunate enough to have some people around that understood that, and I think that we as black men sometimes don't realize. And not going to just say black men. I'm going to say black families.
Mm-hmm.
We all could use a round or two of therapy.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir.
Yep.
So that we have a better understanding of how to deal with some of the things that go on in society today.
Yes, sir.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, you're very famous for a lot of things in baseball, but here's one thing that I knew about. I didn't grow up in St. Louis. I actually grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. But I knew of you, and I knew of you for
Mm-hmm.
this one thing, this backflip. I said, "This is man on the baseball field doing this backflip." My question is, what is the origin of the backflip? So obviously, Rob asked you earlier. You played basketball. obviously you were athletic to be able to do a backflip while playing baseball. What's the origin of that, sir?
Well, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. I say South Central Los Angeles. I grew up in Watts, okay?
Yes, sir.
Right.
And we lived across the street from where they used to build pallets. So there was always plenty of sawdust. So as kids back then, when we went out, we spent a lot of time outdoors. And so there was always a dare. I dare you. I bet you can't do this. I bet you can't do that. I'm gonna show you how stupid we were as kids. You know those 4 feet high fences that have the twisties on the top?
Yes, sir.
Of the
Barbed
fence?
wire. Yep.
Yeah. It wasn't barbed wire, but it was wire. Okay. So we would dare. I bet you can't jump over that. I'd say I bet you I can. Now, you know that if you don't make it, it ain't gonna be pretty. and Lord knows that if you tear up a pair of pants or have to go to the doctor, mama, you're gonna get a whooping. First of all, you're gonna go get patched up. Then when you come home, you're gonna get a whooping from mama or dad, for doing something so
absolutely.
stupid.
Absolutely.
So my hops and stuff, I had to have hops to be able to do stuff like that. So fast forward to when I signed with the Padres in 1977, 1977, my rookie year was 1978. And after I made the team, after practice, we had to run 2 miles. Well, I wasn't big on long distances. So I wasn't killing myself trying to prove to somebody I can be first to finish.
Yeah.
So I was near the back of the pack. So I had a bunch of old guys on my team like Dave Winfield, Gaylord Terry, Gene Tennis. They were all giving me, the young guy, a hard time about being the youngest and being at the back of the pack. So I told them, I said, you know what? I'll show you guys I'm not tired. So at the time I had monster hops, okay? So I do my round off backflip. And Gene Tennis, who was my teammate, had girls that were involved in gymnastics. And he said to me, I would love for my girls to see you do that. Well, we tried to do it at some point in time during the season, which we were never able to do. So it wasn't until the final day of the season, which was Fan Appreciation Day, that he and the PR guy thought it would be a good idea for me to do it going out to my position.
Okay.
I reluctantly did it because back in those days, the entertainment was the chicken. And I did not want to step on the toes of the chicken because the chicken always had the last word.
Yeah.
So anyway, I did it. People liked it so much, they asked me to do it opening day the following year. And lo and behold, a trademark was born. And sometimes now, from a humor side, sometimes when I did it, going out to my position when it was warm and my legs felt good, I was up there so high, guys, I looked down and said, oh my God, they're waiting on me. I got to get back down there. So that's really how it got started and stuff. And I had no idea that, it would end up being a trademark and one of those things that I'm known for.
Awesome. Hey. Hold on, Rob. Before you ask that question,
go ahead now.
Can you still do the backflip, sir?
See, then I knew you were going to ask that. Hey, not intentionally, no. One thing I learned a long time ago that, at 66 years old, bones don't heal the same way. And the last time that I did it was in 2002 at the age of 41. And it wasn't pretty. I skin up my knee, messed up a pair of pants. That was the end of it.
You say that's it.
That's it. All
right. This is not it's 2 questions. And one of the folks watching, my little brother said, could you dunk back in the day when you were playing basketball?
I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But here again, it takes so much. It takes so much work. But I had the good fortune of playing. Eddie Murray and I played together in high school, and I think we're still the only 2 high school teammates that ended up in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Oh
And
wow.
he'll tell you that the only time I passed the ball was when it bounced off my knee. But no, I somebody sent a picture here not too long ago, and it was a picture of me in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And in high school, I wore number 10, and I saw where I was second team all city. I averaged 23.9 a game.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my game in high school. But when I went to college, I realized that baseball was really what I loved doing more than anything.
Okay, now transitioning into that, my son, and this just shows the effect that you've had on the game. My son is a huge basketball fan and
Hmm.
player. He's gonna try out for baseball, and he found out you were coming on today, and he was like, "Man, that's my favorite baseball player of all time." And it was shocking to me because I had no clue that he was an Ozzie Smith fan. But I think that's pretty cool. Um, what advice would you give him and any other young up and coming baseball player? Because in the inner cities, a lot of black kids don't play baseball. So,
Mm-hmm.
what
Hmm.
advice would you give them?
Well, the very first thing that I would say is education first.
Right.
Get your education. Put your time and energy into getting a good education, because with a good education, that's something that can't be taken away. Playing
Mm,
baseball or football or basketball, that can be taken away at the snap of a finger.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you could throw your arm out, you could mess up a knee, all of that. So getting an education is first and foremost. And if in fact you want to pursue a sport or whatever it is you decide to pursue in your life, that dream, hold on to that dream and don't let anybody deter you from that dream. Now, if that's what you want to do, then your parents shouldn't be telling you when to practice.
Mm.
You shouldn't
Mm.
have to be told. If it's what you love and it's a part of your being,
big.
then that should be a part of your being. When you wake up, and I tell people this, that the reason that you have so many Dominicans and Puerto Ricans that are playing baseball today is because for them, it is their way out.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
eat it, they sleep it, they drink it. It's they put everything into it.
Yeah.
And it gets back to what we talked about earlier, that blood, the sweat, and the tears.
Hmm.
No
Mm.
success is going to come without the blood, the sweat, and the tears. And so you're only going to get out of something what you put in it. If you don't put anything in, you shouldn't expect anything in return, and that's life.
Mm.
Awesome. I have a question. How important was that call from your high school coach while you were at Cal Poly College considering quitting
Yeah,
and going back home?
that was it, man. We all reached that point to where we don't feel like things are happening. And for me, my mom, God rest her soul, she'd
Mm-hmm.
probably tell you, and she told this story a lot, that I used to call home saying, I'm homesick, I want to come home, this, that, and the other, and stuff. But the whole time she's telling me, you stay there, stay the course, work hard, keep yourself in a position.
Mm-hmm.
And my high school coach preached the same message. And I think for those of us that are successful, you do have people in your life who are all preaching the same message over and over again about working hard, getting the most out of your talent, all of those things. So that call that I got from him was one. My dad wasn't around, so my coach was like kind of a father figure too.
Yes,
So
sir.
he called and he told me, he says, in not too kind words, I can't say it on the air here,
Thank you.
but you're gonna stay you're gonna stay there because that is the best place for you.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom would always say, I said, I'm coming home. She said, you don't have a home.
Mm.
So don't come
That's
back
old school
here.
right
And
there.
that's
Yeah.
old school. Yeah.
Yeah.
So uh, she always knew that I had it. My high school coach knew that I had it. My college coach knew that I had it. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a coach when I signed professionally who used to ride me. And I'm hustling because I know I gotta hustle if I'm gonna make it. I can't let up. I gotta keep at it. I gotta stay with it.
Yeah.
And so he rode me and rode me and rode me. And one day after, for the guys who have an opportunity or they feel they have an opportunity to make it to the big leagues, they send them to instructional league after your season is over.
Mm.
So I go to instructional league, and this guy, Glenn Ezell, he called everybody Hoss. Come on, Hoss. Give me more, Hoss. Come on, Hoss. Come on, Hoss. I got so tired of hearing Hoss, man. It just drove me crazy.
That was that name from Bonanza days, wasn't it?
Bonanza Hoss.
Yep,
Yeah,
Hoss.
yeah, that was Hoss. Hey, look at you. Look at you. I thought you were too young to know that.
We're a
But
little
anyway,
seasoned, sir. Just a little.
Yeah. But anyway, he calls me at the end of instructionally. He calls me and he says, Hoss, I know you feel like I've been riding you, and I have. And I was riding you for a reason, because I knew that you had what it takes, and I didn't want to see you let down.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was the guy that told me. He said, it's all paid off for you because you got an invite to big league camp.
Wow.
And stuff.
Wow.
And that made it all worthwhile. And it was at that moment that I realized, that I had set a goal for myself, and I had accomplished that goal. That goal was to play professionally at some point in time, not knowing how long it would last, but putting in the work and the effort that it took to get to that point. Because I never got drafted out of high school, which was a little disappointing, especially in light of the fact that Eddie Murray, my teammate, got drafted in the third round by the Baltimore Orioles and had started his professional career.
Mm-hmm.
So my road to the big leagues was a little bit different, but I stayed the course. I didn't give up. I didn't give up on myself. I didn't give up on my belief, and I had people that didn't give up on me either. They kept reinforcing that, hey, stay the course, do your thing. You're doing it right. Just keep doing what you're doing. And it's the same thing that I preach to my kids today. Whatever it is that you love doing, man, you do it to the best of your ability every day. Leave there knowing that you gave all you had to give that day. Now, that doesn't mean that it was as great or as wonderful as you would have liked it, but that you didn't leave anything out there. And that was my career for 19 years, man. For 19 years, I asked myself when I finished, did I do the best I could do that day? And the answer for 19 years was yes, I did the best I could do today. It didn't mean that we won, but I know that I didn't take anything for granted.
Right.
And if I had to go back, I wouldn't change a thing, because I left it all out there on the field.
Yes, sir.
That's I'm gonna ask you one more, and then if you don't mind, see if you got one. Can we take some from some of the viewers? Because I know we got you here. During your playing career, 19 years that is, that's awesome. What season do you feel like was your best season?
From an offensive standpoint, probably 1987. I think I hit 303 in 1987, which I was able to accomplish one of my goals. My goal was to win a Gold Glove and to hit 300 at some point in time in my career. Mm-hmm. So, though 1985 was a good year for me, I even had the chance to hit third a couple times in 1985, because I'd met a guy by the name of Mackie Shilstone, who took Michael Spinks from a light heavy to a heavyweight. Mm-hmm. And I did that to make myself stronger over two halves of a season. So through Mackie, through weight training and nutrition, I was able to get myself in a position and to become a little bit stronger, so I could back the defense up, and I'd learn to hit the ball down the lines and the gaps and stuff. And so 1985 was kind of the coming out, and then 1987 was the culmination of all the hard work and stuff that I put in.
One more from me, and then we'll go to the people. I just want to ask you about this. When did your love of golf start? And tell us about the PGA Reach Gateway.
Well, it didn't start. I didn't. Growing up in South Central Los Angeles, golf, that was never part of our vocabulary. Period.
I understand.
So we were never exposed to that. So
yes, sir.
In 1996, when I retired, I had a guy by the name of Mike Murphy. who was a big baseball fan, who was down there, and he ran Whitey Herzog's golf tournament. He said that he wanted me to come out and hit the first drive, to get the tournament started. And he says, now, if it's going to be embarrassing, he says, why don't you come out the day before and hit some balls, and then you'll be ready the next day to hit the first tee. And here again, it's one of those things that people, when you excel at what you do, people expect you to be able to do that at a drop of a dime, a drop of a hat.
Right.
So there's always that pressure when you're a professional athlete to be able to go out and do something else and do it well. And so it was that day I went out and I teed it up. Well, I practiced that one day, and then the next day I teed it up, and I messed around and I hit a ball down the middle.
Uh-oh.
I hit it down the middle, and I've been hooked ever since. I'm like a little, I'm like a junkie, man. It's like because what happens when you play for 19 years and you decide to give it up, there's a competitive void in your life.
Yeah.
And the thing that golf brings is that you're competing against yourself, you're competing against the course, and you're competing against the people you're playing against.
Yeah.
And so that started my love of the game. And I said, wow, wouldn't it be nice if we could find some young kid in the inner city who would fall in love with the game at a young age and then develop into a Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that from an athletic standpoint, there are a lot of kids that, it started out as baseball, but baseball has become such a tough thing for kids here in America now that I felt that we needed to give them another alternative. And so exposing them to the game of golf while at the same time emphasizing or stressing the importance of them getting a good education. And it's not just the game of golf, it's the business of golf.
Yeah.
You see, they could get involved in so many other aspects of the game that they could build a career. And so it was from that standpoint that I became the president of PGA Reach, which is called Gateway now. And my concept and idea, we paired with Herbert Hoover's Boys Club and Target, and we have a STEM program that we're doing there. But right across the street was Carter Carburetor. Now, I didn't grow up here, but it was Carter. Everybody knew where Carter Carburetor was and where old Busch Stadium was in North St. Louis there. So we finally got that Carter Carburetor all cleaned up. And my goal or my vision is to have a 9-hole multi-recreational facility that would allow kids to go there and learn not only the game of golf, but the business of golf, while at the same time doing some culinary and horticultural things along with a walking trail and stuff. So that's the big vision. And we're right now getting ready to start raising monies to hopefully see that come to fruition here in the very near future.
Awesome.
That's very awesome. That's definitely that's kudos to you, sir, because that's that's thinking outside the box big time and giving another avenue. So I definitely kudos for that.
All right. So first question from the audience. We'll do 3 of these and then we'll let you go, sir. First one from one of our faithful watchers. His name is AT. If you're taking questions, can you ask Ozzie to identify something he likes about today's game and something he doesn't like?
Well, I don't like the shift. I don't like the idea that we're, the game has become too analytical. Now, let me say this here. There's a place for analytics, but you can't let analytics overtake the game, because ultimately you got to hit, you got to run, you got to catch, and you got to throw. Those 4 things are never going to change.
Right.
And I know that if I do that more consistently than the opposition, I got a better chance to win. And so what we see in the game today is that everything is about elevation, about hitting it out of the ballpark, swinging up. It's okay now to strike out 300 times as long as you hit 15, 20 home runs. So from that standpoint, and if look at the Cardinals this year.
Yes, sir.
When the Cardinals went on that 17-game win streak, they started playing baseball the way the game's supposed to be played. You even saw bunting. You even saw you saw the little parts of the game that are so vital and so important to the success of an organization. And I've always enjoyed the speed aspect of the game, and that's kind of a lost art now. Bunting and doing all of those things, and then a shift. I wish, or my team wishes, me, Willie, Vince, Terry. I wish they would put everybody on one side of the field, and allow us to be able to just put the ball in play and put it the other way. God, how easy is this? But here again, I think it stresses the lack of the commitment to be a better player, and how analytics have just taken over to where guys continue to hit into the shift rather than away from the shift. There's always been a saying in baseball, and the Dean brothers talked about it all the time, is that you hit it where they ain't. We hit it right now. You're hitting it where they are.
Right.
And we're even to a point to where they're talking about, well, we're going to outlaw the shift. Well, why should you outlaw the shift when, as a defensive player, if I know that's where he's going to hit it, well, why should I be penalized for not being able to play where I know the guy's going to hit it? Baseball has always been, and when you look at baseball as a whole, you have people like a Tony Gwynn.
Yes, sir.
Tony Gwynn, Rod Carew, they use the whole field. That's what baseball is about. It's about being able to hit it where they ain't. And so, it's frustrating watching. I think the idea of instant replay was right. The idea, the concept was right, because it was to see whether or not the ball was fair or foul, or whether it went out of the ballpark or not. But what's happened is that we've slowed the game down, because now we instant replay every play.
Right.
We've taken a game, we've taken the human element, which has always been a great part of this game. It's been proven that 99.9% of the time, an umpire gets it right. Okay, so we miss it that 1%. That's okay. That's just part of what we do.
Yeah.
Instant replay, I wish we'd have had it in 1985. We might have another championship, but the idea was right.
Yes, sir.
Let's try and get it right. But we're overusing it. We're overusing it, just like we're starting to overuse interleague play.
Yeah.
There was always excitement for seeing the Yankees or the Oakland A's come into town if they got into the World Series. But now, when you're doing this, you're doing it on a regular basis, it takes away from some of the excitement of seeing something different.
Right.
Yeah, true indeed.
I'm pull up. This is from our friend Glenn. He's from Canada. Said, who are your top 5 shortstops of all time? He's asking you. Off the top
of all time.
Right.
Off the top of
it's
my
an
head.
easy
Well,
one.
yeah, like that's easy. Well, Davey Concepcion from Cincinnati was always one of my favorites.
Okay.
Omar Vizquel.
Okay.
Let me see. Today, Derek was a good shortstop. Derek Jeter was a good shortstop. Playing today, what's his name that plays for Houston is pretty good. I don't think that any of these guys, with the exception of maybe Omar Vizquel, is prototypical. Prototypical shortstop is a little guy who covers a lot of ground and can make great plays and make things happen. Not big offensively. You know, Omar over in the other league was probably he was just like I was here in the National League. Came in notably as a defensive player, but worked extremely hard and became a much better offensive player before he left the game. Those are guys that I think that have really stood out. Davey Concepcion, I learned a lot from. Davey was a big shortstop, but Davey is probably the only guy on the Cincinnati Reds, or he was the guy that was the glue that kind of held it together, especially there in the middle. But he was the only guy that didn't reap the benefits of making it to the Hall of Fame. And I think that was because they had so many great players. You know, you got Pete Rose, you got Joe Morgan, you got Sparky Anderson, you got Tony Perez. The list just goes on. Johnny Bench, just so many great players. And he was one of those guys that was overlooked. But he was always that guy down in the number 6, and number 7, and number 8 spot that was always driving in clutch runs. But never got the credit, you know, because there were so many other great players.
All right.
Well, sir, this has been an honor. We have kept you too long, but we just thank you so much for your time. This was awesome. This is awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Well,
awesome.
thank you guys so much for having me, and you guys keep up the good work, and happy holidays.
Sir. Happy holidays to you.
Same to you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was Ozzie Smith. That was Ozzie Smith, y'all.
That was that.
That just happened.
Yeah.
So look, man. Y'all know from the other shows, we're very grateful. That's all we'll say. But yeah, man, much love to Ozzie Smith for coming on our show, and we give him another one. He ain't even over here no more, but another one, man. Thank him so much for the time. I think, Rob, you know, we're going to get on up out of here after this, man. We gave these people everything. We're going to see y'all tomorrow with another Not the Same podcast, music and sports show. Not music and sports, music and faith show. But we are so grateful for y'all that tuned in. If this was one of your first times coming and watching the Not the Same podcast, don't be a stranger, man. Come back. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of interesting interviews. This is not the first or the last of one of the Hall of Famers being on this show. Trust me. And also give us a like and a subscribe and all that thing. Hit the notification bell. All that good stuff. You know what I mean? But listen, come on back, fam. You never know who you're going to see up on here. I'm just saying.
You never know. And if you did join in late, Ozzie was on his camera, but he was using his phone, and it kept messing up on him. So that's why we just had to put the picture up. But like she said, it worked out. Great interview as far as him being so transparent and dropping them gems on us tonight. So yeah, definitely. Go ahead and play that favorite part real quick so we can get up out of here, man.
But before we get up out of here,
so have you ever thought, I really enjoy what these guys are doing with this podcast? How can I support? How can I help support? How can I be a blessing to them? You can be a blessing by hitting that Cash app, # Not the Same Podcast, or you can go on over to notthesamepodcast.com /support and hit the like, subscribe button, share, notifications. So anytime we come on, you guys will know what's going on. Because like you said, you never know what guests are coming through. So the holidays are here. Hit that notthesamepodcast.com and go to our store. We got hoodies, we have t-shirts, and a bunch of other little things that you can get for gifts. You know what I mean? Yes, so everybody likes gifts.
Everybody.
So we're going to wrap this up, man. Like C said, this is that. We'll see y'all tomorrow with another regular Not the Same podcast show. If this is your first time joining us, tonight is the sports. Every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern, we do our sports. Every Thursday, we do the faith and the music show.
Yes.
And every first and third Tuesday, we also got a little Bible study that we do that y'all can slide through. And it's the same thing. Come through, comment, and kick it with your boys. You know what it is.
Yeah. So, on that note, I'm C. Micah.
I'm Robert Dean.
We is out, man. We're going to see y'all tomorrow.
Strength, so we gave us the